Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. The Democratic primary from the Maine Senate seat is on its full swing, and like I said, in this said race, I talked about in the New Hampshire race that we gotta have to root for the radical left because we know that the radical left, as much as we don't like them, they're going to be easier to defeat in general elections than establishment Democrats that are in the federal government. So a lot of people will be alarmed when I say that, but when you put context into that, it only makes sense. And I'm just going to say, here's your new Democrat Party favorite for the Maine Senate seat coming next year, and that is Graham Plattner, who is, out of everyone, a far left Antifa endorsing socialist who is officially running in the said race against Janet Mills. Shocking enough, his campaign has so much momentum. He is cracking polls like crazy. 58% in the most recent poll. Janet Mills with 24%. It sure looks like Graham Plattner could possibly beat Mills, unless I thwarted my prediction that Mills would become the Democratic Party nominee. But here's the catch. Mills, after all, just started her campaign. And although if I would imagine the race would be much closer than this, but I would like to see how this evolves over time. But right now, Graham Plattner is officially winning this race still, and it looks like he could possibly be dropping. I don't know. I honestly do not know, because a new scandal has erupted in regards to Graham Plattner. It's probably the funniest scandal on the planet, because this is the guy who runs around pointing at every little thing, saying, oh, you have a center-right view on something, then you're a fascist. You're a right-winger. You don't support trans ideology, then you're a right-wing. Then you don't support trans ideology, you're a right-winger. You support the United States. You have an American flag in your house. This guy's a vet, by the way. You're a right-winger. And this guy's a lunatic, and you think this guy would be enough to be, and he is. I mean, if it really does depend on if Susan Collins is going to stand up, she might have to now, because she might do herself a disservice. Like, now we have a reason to be mad at Susan Collins. Just saying, now we have a reason to be mad at Susan Collins for retiring, because while before, we recognize, Susan Collins, she's an older woman. She's been in there since the 90s. She still very likely can retire. And we're just praying that she doesn't, because if she retires, then Graham Plattner is going to beat the said Republican. You'll have another socialist in the United States Senate, and that's not good for the country. So yes and no, you should be rooting for Graham Plattner only if Susan Collins is the GOP nominee. If Susan Collins is the GOP nominee, then Collins should win. I mean, yes, you'll have a lot of momentum for Graham Plattner. I still think it would be a tight and close race. I think Collins would probably win by like 4 points, not a leaning margin. But Plattner is actually Plattner has momentum. And I was going to mention about the scandal, and I call it TATTOGATE, because the same guy who's running around Maine calling everyone that he doesn't like Nazis, as actually might be a Nazi himself. I'm not the person to call people Nazis. I'm not that person, but hey, I'm just pointing out the hypocrisy. This guy was allegedly found, and he was found with a covered up tattoo displaying a Nazi symbol. And no, it's not the swastika. It's the skull and crossbones, which I never would have guessed was a Nazi symbol. But this is his thing. Oh, actually, no, I think he covered that symbol up with another tattoo, which is cheap, you know. I don't know what the other tattoo looks like, but that was his replacement tattoo. And let's just say it didn't really, I think it's very cringeworthy. But, you know, I mean, he claims that, we were in Croatia, split Croatia, in a deployment mission, and we got drunk one night, and we decided to get a tattoo, and we chose the skull and crossbones because it looked cool. You know, I mean, you don't need to convince me that you've gotten intoxicated and you've gotten hungover and wasted, because, I mean, I would believe your story if you just told me and you told us that, you know, I mean, we chose the skull and crossbones because we didn't know him, but I don't know if he got wasted or not. He got intoxicated, that's what he claims. But he's claiming he got intoxicated, he wasn't thinking straight, he was unaware about that. I mean, his story's more believable if he kept that out, but I don't know, maybe he's telling the truth, and maybe he didn't really know what the skull and crossbones meant. Do I care? No, because until now, oh my goodness, I better not buy anything that has a skull and crossbones. I better stay away from that. This is ridiculous. I mean, I'm against 100% the censorship. I'm against this either way because, A, you know what, we should be able to bear whatever symbol we want, regardless if you disagree with it or not. You know, you can't even teach World War II the correct way in Europe. If you dare display the swastika in a Google slideshow, you will get arrested. That's just ridiculous. And there's that, and then there's the other direction, where Democrats are silent. Remember, Democrats said and told us about Pete Hegseth. Pete Hegseth is a white Christian nationalist. He's a Nazi because he had the Crusader cross on his chest. And you know, he is, I would believe, a Christian. Yes, he's a Christian. I don't know if he's Catholic or not, but you know, he's proud of his Christian heritage. We are allowed to be proud of other people's heritage. I mean, gay people and Black people get to celebrate Black History Month, Hispanic heritage, Native American heritage. You have all the Native American symbols and the Black symbols, and all that stuff. You have people running around, Roland Martin running around displaying the Laurent Louverture, who is a radical. Can I call him a terrorist? Well, he committed genocide. He absolutely did. I don't know if it was him directly or his team, but his goal was to kill all the Creole people in Haiti, wipe them all out. And for those of you who don't know that Creole people are white French-descended people that come from Haiti. That was his goal, and this took place during the Haitian Revolution, during the time of the French Revolution. Well, Roland thought it would be very smart and very good for him to display wearing a shirt of the Laurent Louverture, which shows that he is a Black nationalist. He is a Black nationalist. Now, do I care? No. I'm just calling it out because Roland Martin, he goes and tells us that we're not white nationalists. I'm just going to call out the hypocrisy. I don't care what symbols and what shirts you wear and all that stuff. That's your business, not mine. It speaks to your character, but it doesn't speak to mine. And as long as it doesn't speak to mine, I have no reason to care. But if you're going to go and point out my flaws and my mistakes, then hey, I'm going to point out your hypocrisy. That's how it's going to work. But, I mean, people live a life. People get tattoos. People get symbols that they don't actually understand what the meaning of the tattoo means. So it's very, seriously. And I'm just in awe and awestruck. And I'm not surprised, because we know the Democrats are fake. We know that they don't care. They don't give a damn. They really don't. They don't care about Pete Hegseth. They're just using it as a political talking point. Are they really offended by Pete Hegseth displaying the cross of Jesus Christ in a crusader-like fashion? No. They just see it as an opportunity to get the Looney Tunes up and running. But they can't do it with this, because this guy's the Looney Tune candidate. This guy is a socialist candidate, and they want the socialists to win. Now, the establishment Democrats, don't get me wrong, Janet Mills, she better start talking about the tattoo. She's probably saying, oh, Graham Plattner has a tattoo. Nazism, blah, 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 blah. Call him out. Well, but then again, Democrats are held to different standards. Why? They're socialists. Oh, he actually doesn't mean it. Democrats would never. They're more believable, because they say they condemn that sort of stuff. It's like seeing a Christian, a wholly devout Christian, and you find out that you got a satanic prayer book in the basement of that Christian. Even though we show you the facts and evidence, no, he's a Christian. Or that would be what some people would think. But obviously, we know Democrats don't care about the Nazism. They just use it as leverage to gain political prestige. And obviously, when you have stuff like this pop out of the blue, we find out that, Graham Plattner, on his own will, on his own choice, I respect his decision, but it's honestly surprising that Democrats don't care about this, because they will only care about Pete Hegseth's tattoos. They will say that Pete Hegseth is unqualified because Pete Hegseth had a Christian tattoo. And I'm like, and they claim that it's white nationalism, even though really, and just because they source the Crusades. While you can find any symbol, and you could and like the Louverture, and call out Roland Martin for his shirt that he was wearing, and you could call it black nationalism. That's what you could do. But standards aren't set the correct way. So obviously, we're going to go ahead and just take a look at the hilarious hypocrisy of the Democrats. This is, of course, Graham's apology, which it's not really a exciting thing to watch. I want to watch the hypocrisy of just Democrats, and just in general, just like, let's see, I want to see like Bernie Sanders literally endorsed this guy. This is how far left this guy is. And let's go ahead. Okay, yeah.
Hello, traders.
Okay, that's ridiculous. Why is it? So yeah, that's pretty much his skull. I think we found the tattoo. They definitely covered it up. They replaced it with this. Okay. And normally we wouldn't be talking about tattoos in this channel. Like, why does that matter? Well, it does. It doesn't matter. But this is an opportunity to point out the flaws of Democrats and how insane these socialists are, how hypocritical they are. So obviously, Bernie Sanders is not going to like this question being asked about Graham Plattner having the Nazi symbol, the evil Nazi symbol that Bernie hates so much. And you would think a sane person would tell, Graham Plattner to drop out of the race if this was so sick, so evil. But Graham Plattner is Bernie Sanders is going to dismiss this. He's going to say, no, don't, this is like a cheap fake or something like that. Let's go ahead and watch. Whoops. So he's going to snap.
Can I ask you about the tattoos?
Once again, we are dealing with a collapsing healthcare system, and you were asking me about whether or not a guy should get a tattoo removed. Sorry.
Wow. Well, let's be honest. If this were a far-right candidate, Bernie would be up in arms. Bernie would be losing his mind. We know this guy's a hypocrite. And obviously, this is making Bernie Sanders look bad. I mean, let's be honest. This guy calls everyone a fascist. Right wing, blah, 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 blah. Oh, well, then you have Graham Plattner, who does look like, to be honest, he does look like a conservative. But then again, you have that anarcho-libertarian socialist type that's prevalent in the Vermont area. That kind of also appeals to the more of the Graham Plattner people. But let's go ahead and see what CNN will say.
All right, joining us now in the arena, Democratic Congressman from Massachusetts, Seth Moulton. He sits on the House Armed Services Committee, has launched a Senate bid for the seat currently occupied by Democratic Senator Ed Markey. Congressman, great to see you. Thank you for being here.
You too.
Should Mr. Plattner be the next Democratic nominee for Senate in Maine?
He should certainly be in the race. I mean, primaries are good. They're healthy. And he represents a new generation of leadership that's not just cut from the same cloth, part of the old playbook.
I wish he could have. This is the same people. You had these stupid, very stupid text messages from New York with the young Republicans. We were talking about 18-year-old boys. This is the same Democrats. They will say, oh, well, healthy primaries are good. It's his right to run. But, those 18-year-old kids, the young Republicans, the GOP, they need to get rid of them because they were making jokes that we didn't like. Insensitive jokes about World War II and Hitler and gas chambers. I'm not saying those jokes were okay, but they were jokes. They're jokes. These people are full of it. When they will boo-hoo, whine, and cry, scream into the wind until you get a bunch of 18-year-olds that clearly got under your skin, throw them and ruin their lives because they told a joke. They told a joke that they didn't like, but you won't call Graham Plattner out, who had a Nazi tattoo, and you're saying, oh, well, healthy primaries are good. Primaries are healthy. Very good. I'm like, what? Not only that, but Seth Moulton is actually considering, he says this out loud on CNN, that he will probably end up endorsing Plattner, not the governor. No. I've come to realize the governor must be really unliked. If they have to choose this guy, I thought they hated straight white males. Oh, but not straight white males that push the socialist narrative. We love them. We'll take anyone that will push our narrative. They will even take Nazis, guys. They will take Nazis. No, they take anti-Semites. They are all over the college campuses, but they'll take Nazis to push their Marxist agenda. They'll take converted Nazis. They'll take anyone to push the far-left socialist Marxist agenda of the Democratic Party. So let's go ahead and see what this Seth Moulton clown has to say.
It frankly hasn't been serving Democrats well. But look, he's
Even
made mistakes in his life. He's made mistakes in his life. We all have. He deserves an opportunity to explain those mistakes, and he's doing that.
Wow. I mean, with the comments made in I didn't do a video of it, and I'm only mentioning it. This is the first time I'm mentioning it, but let's just say it's made ground waves on the liberal media. The liberal media was boohoo-whining and crying. You had 18-year-old, 16, 17-year-old kids that made insensitive jokes. Folks, I went to high school. Who here didn't go to high school? You could be online. That's a little different. But I went to high school, and I got to see these people in person. They made insensitive jokes all the time. Mainly against, women, and just being honest. They're mainly being impure and modest jokes and all that stuff. And, hey, guess what? They made some insensitive jokes about history and death and atrocities. This is normal. But, this happened in a Republican group. Republican students making jokes about World War II. This is horrible. If this happened in a Democrat group, which I guarantee you there were a lot of them, the Democrats that run it don't say anything. This would make zero news. Zero. And this is worse. Really, if anything, you just got a candidate who had a Nazi tattoo. Oh, he got rid of it immediately because it was time to get elected. But this is not an issue. I mean, you're not going to question the fact that, you could be this guy could be a secret Nazi. Oh, well, he condemned it. Oh, well, he made a mistake. He admitted he made a mistake. Well, the young Republicans said that they made a mistake, and they begged for leniency, and you guys threw them out. The GOP of New York not only ruined those kids' lives, but they also dismantled the young Republicans. This is as far as they will go if it's a Republican. But if it's something like a Democrat, oh, well, it's not a big deal. It's just purely disgusting.
Another thing is, a lot of people in politics don't answer questions like this. They try to get out of it. They try to blame mistakes on other people. We see Donald Trump do that every single day. I see Graham owning this mistake, correcting it, and you know what? As someone who served in the Marines myself, he's far from the first Marine I've seen who got a tattoo that he didn't understand.
Wow.
Would you be willing to?
And here's the other thing. He's in the Army. I mean, if this is true, it's really a hate crime, hate symbol, then, Plattner should know. Because, Army and Navy and the armed forces, they're required to know some bit of geopolitical history, okay, through American history. They're required to know that sort of stuff. They have a certain amount of knowledge of the land they're about to step on and the history the land has. Like, I'm sure Plattner knows a lot about Iraqi history because he's an Iraq war veteran, and Afghan history. because obviously that's the case. Now, he's not a World War II veteran, but he still has knowledge of World War II. So the fact that he says, oh, well, he didn't know about the symbol. What? Now, first off, I don't even know if they're telling the truth. And, well, it might be a Nazi symbol, actually, because if it weren't a Nazi symbol, then CNN wouldn't be rolling this. I mean, let's be honest. If this was disputed in some way, if this was a Nazi symbol or not, CNN would be like, who cares? It might not be a Nazi symbol, but they're saying this is a Nazi symbol. So it very well likely could be a Nazi symbol. Should we be ruining people's lives over it? No, I don't care. If you have a Nazi symbol on your chest or something, hey, I can care less. It's your decision. But obviously, I'm just talking in quality of standards. The standards are low for Democrats. This guy was caught with literally
To endorse, Mr.
just like straight out literally a Nazi symbol. And the whole entire left is silent. Maybe the establishment Democrats will talk about it. Janet Mills will have to talk about it, or if she wants to win that seat and win that primary. But man, this is ridiculous. How low can you go? I mean, like, I'm not even referring to the fact that he had a Nazi symbol on his chest. No, that's not the lowest point. The lowest point is that you guys ruined Republicans. 2 Republican kids. Their lives. You threw them into the mud. They lost their jobs. They can't even get a job. They can't even get to college because they're allegedly Nazis. But this guy's still in the Senate race. Running, and he's still winning. He's still raising money. This tells us everything that they don't care. They don't give a you-know-what. They don't care. No, they will do whatever it takes to push a left-wing narrative and install a left-wing point of view to get power. It's always about power, nothing else. So let's go ahead and continue to look at this.
Plattner in this primary?
I'm certainly considering it. I mean, he's
and now he's considering to endorse.
Marine. He represents a new generation of leadership that we desperately need in our party. And I think he's speaking to real concerns of people across the country, which is why his Senate campaign is attracting attention, not just across the state of Michigan.
And this is a mask off moment. This is the mask off moment. Not to the fact that you're endorsing a Antifa endorsing militant socialist, but you are basically saying, actually, we don't really care about the Republicans and the petty little things that they've said in group chats and all that stuff, and the jokes they tell that may not be really the smartest and most strategic if you want to win an election or something like that. We don't really care. No, we don't. We'll just use it as political leverage to gain power, to gain money. We will ruin kids' lives so we can get rich and get elected and get more power. This is the Democrats. This is the Democrats. This is the Democratic Party. And the far left. Look at the far left. The far left people of the world. Kyle Kulinski, Crystal Ball, and Jennifer Welch. Watch them. I guarantee you, they'll say nothing about it. No, because he's a Democrat. He's a socialist pushing our narrative, running like crazy. And he could have the full-blown swastika across his chest, and they won't care. In fact, they'll continue to endorse him. Because, they won't hold their own to the same standard as they do Republicans. Because the narrative is Republicans are center-right or right-wing. Center-right to right-wing. Therefore, they're associated with the Nazis, who are also right-wing. And because Democrats are center-left to left-wing, it's impossible for them to be right-wing. You see this, they're so black and white. Black and white. Even though, political conversion happens. I'm not saying this guy was a Nazi. I don't know. And to be honest, I don't care. I don't care. The only thing I care about is if this guy wins the Senate race. I am saying he should win the primary. I'm secretly rooting for him. I can't say I'm secretly anymore because I'm saying it publicly. Only if Susan Collins runs. Because if he is the nominee and Susan Collins is the nominee, Susan Collins should enjoy beating him up. She would get more independent. She would get more of the independents, more of the moderates for sure. And she might squeeze it out. I hope not. If not Seth Moulton. If Plattner is a nominee and Collins doesn't run, then that's bad. Bad. Because this guy has actively endorsed political violence. Am I surprised? Well, yeah, he said that it's okay to arm yourself. This is the same guy that wants to ban guns. But no, not the guns. Democrats, you guys can use guns. What if you are a left-wing hardliner, then you can have guns, but you got to use the guns to prove a point, to push the left-wing agenda. Not through messaging, no, through violence. That is by killing political opponents. This is what this guy has clearly said. You'll see that even Plattner has used like anti-gay slurs in posts. And yeah, he's admitted that, it's indefensible. Well, here's the thing, though. Not too long ago when I was growing up, when I was like 4, 5, 6, the anti-gay slurs were so normal. Like Obama used them, Clinton used them, some of them used, Democrats, prominent ones, use it publicly, but they're just hidden. The government or the media will just hide it. This is what you're doing. That's what they do. So, did Plattner use anti-gay slurs? He says he did. He says it's indefensible. I can care less about this because everyone said anti-gay slurs. The most prominent far-left people made fun of gay people. It was called 2004, 2005. Let's be honest, California voted for a ban on gay marriage in a ballot measure. Los Angeles literally voted for that ballot measure to ban gay marriage. That's how antagonized, not too long ago, gay marriage was. Gay marriage. So I'm not surprised. And I guarantee you the left will push the same narrative, the same message that I just said. But I'm just saying, if this were, let's just say, Pete Hegseth, they would be losing their minds. He said anti-gay stuff. This is horrible. You see, it's all about political ideology. Which side are you on? Are you going to push the narrative of the Democrats? If you're going to do that, then we're going to hold you to the highest we're going to hold you to the very lowest of standards. We don't care if you threaten to kill Republicans and their kids like Jay Jones. We don't care. In fact, we will go out of our way to protect you and defend you and support you. But if you're a Republican, if you're going to challenge our power, then we will do whatever you can. We don't care how old you are. We don't care if you're 10. We will destroy your life. This is how narcissistic these Democrats are. But yes, this is absolutely just horrific. And before I end this video, it's a little longer. I was not expecting it to be this long. But before I end the video, make it a little larger. I would like to do a primary prediction, because that's probably, like, the question is, does Plattner have what he needs to win the primary? Now, I personally think Plattner will win as of right now. I have no proof and evidence to suggest that Mills will win. I might be underestimating Mills' unpopularity. I'm going with the facts and the evidence right now, but I don't think, the race will tighten. Mills' campaign just started. But hey, I think this primary is personally going to be very, very, very close. They say, Plattner is leading Mills, but not for long. Not for long. I don't think he's leading her. Will he win? I don't know. 58%. He's capping it. That's good. It depends really if this is like going to happen like in, okay. When is the primary? That's the thing. When is this primary? I know we couldn't find the primary for yesterday's video. But if this is primary, it's going to happen like in May, then hey, that's good news for Plattner. But if this is, they even put down tilting Republican but Plattner, I don't know, when did he announce his race? Plattner announced his race not too long ago, and yeah, Plattner literally has more endorsements than Janet Mills. This is horrible. But hey, we're looking, if it's going to be the case, then Susan Collins, I originally said it. I don't want to hear the boo-hoo whining and crying about Susan Collins already. Now I'm going to justify it. I'm justifying it now. The crying and the anger on Susan Collins will be justified, because if she doesn't win, this idiot wins. And all eyes are on this primary. We don't care about what happens in the Republican primary. We don't care. I can care less. We care about what happens here, because it tells us how crazy the Democratic Party is going to become in the next couple years. But this is pretty much how I think it's going to look like. Franklin County is very strongly likely going to Mills. She comes from that county through her political career. She has performed impressively well in that 3-time triple Trump county, as Jennifer Welch likes to call. But yes, I would expect her to also gain in these areas also. It really does depend. How did she perform in her 2018 governor's race? Because, she was a new face to most Mainers. She has the advantage of being the incumbent governor also. So yeah, she won her county of Franklin County by 60%. That's very good. And she is likely going to be the favorite in that county also. She also won this county right up here by like the 50%. A lot of people in Franklin County resonate with that type of, with Janet Mills up there. The question is, can Plattner win other areas? The question is, how much did, you'll also see, it depends. I'm seeing a lot of split ticketing, and that is, I'm expecting, and I'm thinking this is a multi-race. Oh yeah, look at this. Many different candidates. So I'm going to try to see if Dave Leaps has a election prediction, has an actual map. Let's go ahead and see if Dave Leaps has a map here. So, all right. So we have Dave Leaps. Democratic primary senator. Here we go. Whoops. No, this is... Oh, wait. This is weird. I thought I clicked on the Democratic primary. Like, what the heck? I don't know what Zach Zingle... Yeah, there's some other primary. It's probably screwed up or something. That isn't good, because I was hoping that we could... Oh, this is for the Senate. Never mind. I'm looking at governor, and it looks like, unfortunately, we do not have numbers. Frustrating. But I would assume, due to the 20 to 30% means a closer race, I'm not sure if Plattner would perform good and expectedly well in other areas. I would assume that she, being Janet Mills, would perform here. I don't know if this is called Penobscot County. I don't know what these main counties are called. We can actually pull up 2018 and actually see the results. This is Oxford County, Franklin County. Mills is going to win it. Just speaking the facts. There's no way. What's his name? Plattner is going to end up carrying that county. Mills could very well carry Androscoggin County, which, I mean, they don't seem to resonate with Mills a lot. I would expect Plattner to win in the most heavily Democratic areas. The coasts, for sure, tend to be more of, probably I would expect that ground. Probably going to win the top county up here, Aroostook County. The coasts, I do think, will be going for Plattner. So it's mainly these three counties that I think Mills is probably going to keep. This county, I don't know. You might want to see Plattner carry it. I don't know about that county right here. It's generally conservative, but then again, it's very, like, let's go ahead and see. We can also pull up the 2016 race for, because that does tell us the ideological map. There, yeah, you'll see Bernie Sanders. Yeah, they really like him up there, but I want to see a marginized map. Or do we have one? We'll see if Wiki Commons has a map. But this is, you're starting to see what this map's starting to look like. But 2016 Maine. Let's see if we get a map for the Democratic primary. We'll just put down Democrats. Whoops. Well, actually, we don't need to do that. We could just go to the presidency and pull up the map. There we go. Wait, no. Let's try that again. Dang. That might not work. Oh, I see. They have it. They have two of these. I don't think it's going to work. But okay, we'll call it quits. I do think that Plattner will probably win in these areas. Mainly because he's the socialist, quote, quote. But I would expect Mills to win in these three counties, if not just a horrible performance altogether. But yeah. Anyway, I know this video has been long, and what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, see you all in the next political episode.